Here we go, guys. We're back with another recap of the weekend fights. We had UFC Kansas City, Max Holloway versus Arnold Allen. We're going to recap the main card. It was 6 fights. I'm here with my boy SkyKingBJJ. Make sure you tap into his YouTube as well. Subscribe to mine, and let's get it. But anyways, guys, the first fight we had of the evening on the main card was Clay Guida versus Rafael Garcia. We've seen out here the younger guy, 28, versus the older guy, 41. Clay Guida, 35 UFC fights, vet in the game. He came out aggressive how he always is, but to me, he just couldn't get his reach and timing, honestly. Like, he was swinging too much in the air. He was missing. He was just punching too short. Rafael Garcia used his straight punches, used his speed, used his youth, and got the win by decision. So, this was a good fight. The younger guy, again, he prevailed, came out on top. And, yeah, the biggest storyline out of this fight, though, I'm not going to lie, was Dana White at the press conference upset with Clay Guida. Everybody seen Clay Guida, took his gloves off, everybody thought he was going to retire, and then he kind of, finessed the crowd. Said, like, hey, no, happy birthday, Mom.
I tricked you guys. There ain't no way I'm walking away yet. I want to congratulate
shout out to the vet,
this young man, Rafael Garcia.
Retirements tonight. It seemed like there was a couple of fighters that just took their gloves off.
That pissed me off, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah, no, that pissed me off. I like him. He's a nice guy. But you're faking your retirement so you can say happy.
Venata, give him that fight if he still decides to keep fighting. Or maybe, this is it for him. But regardless, great career. Clay Guida, future UFC Hall of Famer. Then, for the winner, Rafael Garcia, maybe you match him up with Daniel Sahuber. He fought in the prelims against Landon Venata. Good striker, evenly matched records. We can set that up, and that should be a good fight. And on the second fight we had Pedro Munoz fighting Chris Gutierrez. We're going to have Sky King break that down for us.
Pedro Munoz versus Chris Gutierrez kind of went exactly how the Grinder said on the breakdown leading into the fights. Both guys kind of playing with a lot of the same tools. He said you're going to see a lot of calf kicks, and that Chris would be the taller guy, probably working his jab. Pedro would be trying to close the distance and land more on the inside. Pedro's experience, he looked really good in there. It was a good win. Just old school vet again. Like a lot of the old vets look good on this card, I thought. And Chris Gutierrez looked good too in that performance. And just like we said going into the fights, or recapping the fights last week, Chris Gutierrez lost the fight. I think we should match him up with Adrian Yanez, who lost the weekend before. I think that'd be a banger of a fight. Two young guys like to strike, keep it on the feet. It's going to be all action. And for Pedro Munoz, I think it makes sense that he takes the winner of Ricky Simone versus Song Yadong this coming up weekend.
And we'll definitely break that card down as well. So just tune in and tap in for that. So the next fight we had on the main card was Tanner Boza versus Ian Cutelaba. We seen this fight end with a first round knockout by Ian Cutelaba. Ian Cutelaba came out, honestly, he had straight punches this time, wasn't too loopy. Tanner Boza, light on the feet like we thought he was, avoided the punches at first, but eventually Ian Cutelaba landed that one good shot and then hurt Tanner Boza and just pounced on him from there and gave him no time to recover, and that was all she wrote. So, great win for Ian Cutelaba. He saved his job, in my opinion. He's a young guy, actually. He's been in UFC a while, it seemed like, but he's actually only 28 years old. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of room to still grow for him. So excited to see him fight in the future for sure. Always brings it. Tanner Boza, first time to light heavyweight, tough cut for him. He actually showed up very light, underweight. So I'm sure he's gonna stick around light heavyweight. But maybe the chin was a little fragile from the weight cut. We don't know. But we're gonna see what happens next for these guys. So the matches the UFC should make next for these guys are Ian Cutelaba should fight Azmat. He fought later on the card. We'll break that fight down. And Tanner Boza should fight Dustin Jacoby. He also fought Azmat later on the card. We'll break that down.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of, that's the next fight. We had Azamat Murzakanov versus Dustin Jacoby. It was a pretty good fight. Azamat showed a bit more weapons than what we saw on film. He was able to not just spam the left hand, and even though he didn't get the knockout, he looked really good the first 2 rounds. He was throwing off Jacoby's timing, controlling like the pace in the center, and pushing the action. Gassed out though, definitely lost that last round. I think Jacoby probably could have finished if he stepped on the gas a little harder. Obviously easier said than done, but good fight overall. Both guys kind of hanging out at the bottom of the rankings. I don't think either one falls off, so that's why we thought it would probably be a good idea. Ian Kudalaba and Azamat should fight kind of for that ranking spot, like around like 13 to 10. And then Jacoby, if he wants to hang on in the rankings, he needs a win. Tanner Boser unranked, but we think it'd be a good matchup. And Jacoby's on a 2-fight skid; he needs a win. So UFC should make this fight happen.
Yes, sir. And next we had the co-main event. We had Edson Barboza versus Billy Quarantillo. This fight went how I predicted. Edson Barboza had to get the early finish or hurt him early, which he did. Got him against the cage. Billy Quarantillo kept shooting. He knew that was coming, and he landed that knee right to the dome. And that was all she wrote. Great win by Edson Barboza. Good to see him back in the win column. 37, I believe, so he's getting up in age, but still explosive and still as dangerous on the feet as anybody there ever was in the UFC. Billy Quarantillo, tough loss, but he'll be back. So for this fight, who should the winners and losers fight next? I'm thinking Edson Barboza. We rebooked that fight with Sadiq Youssef. That'd be a great fight. 2 guys ranked in the top 15. 2 strikers, 2 strong, explosive guys. That'd be a perfect fight. Maybe you main event or co-main event a fight night card. Then we have his opponent, Billy Quarantillo. I say give Billy Quarantillo TJ Brown. He was the headliner on the prelims. He fought in a fight of the night type of fight. He got 50 G's bonus, so he's an entertaining fighter. So we match that up. Billy Quarantillo, TJ Brown, Edson Barboza, Sadiq Youssef. There you go. Hire me, UFC. I can be a matchmaker.
Oh, awesome. With that, we move on to the main event, Holloway versus Allen. Nothing really super surprising about the way the fight went. I thought Max can just staying on the outside, controlling the distance, tagging Allen with straight punches and counters, building combos kind of as the fight progressed. Allen was looking to land the left hand different ways. He was throwing it straight, he was throwing overhands. Sometimes he would try to counter Max, sometimes he'd push forward. He didn't throw many kicks, and he didn't really mix in any grappling. So just like when we predicted it, you're going to need more weapons if you're going to beat Max Holloway, or if you're Alexander Volkanovski, you just beat Max at his own game, controlling the distance and putting the strikes together. But both guys look really good. Entertaining fight. I don't think Max Holloway's ever in a boring fight. I guess let's start with Arnold Allen. Moving forward, I think a really good fight for Arnold Allen is Brian Ortega. Both guys who fought Max. Allen's was obviously more competitive than Brian's fight with Max, but that was years ago. Brian Ortega showed improvement, and coming off shoulder injury, I think Arnold Allen versus Brian Ortega could be a main event, or you could put that on a pay-per-view. It's a pretty big fight. Holloway, it's kind of don't know what to do with him. Some people would probably say he's still like the guy, but it's hard to make a 4th fight with Volk when he's lost all 3. We were talking a little about Ilya Topuria. I think that's a fun fight. Strikers. See if Topuria has the answer for Max and his distance management, his pace, and all that. Obviously, Topuria, he could put the lights out, but Max never been knocked down either. I'm gonna throw a hot take in here too. There's a fight that it seemed like it was matched up, but it was matched up, and then it fell apart, and now they're targeting a new date. Beneil Dariush versus Charles Oliveira. Me personally, I think Beneil Dariush should get the title shot. Give me Max Holloway versus Doe Bronx 2 at 155.
Yes, sir. That's a good matchup to touch on that, actually. Definitely with that Arnold Allen versus Brian Ortega. And my take on Max Holloway, you don't really know what to do. He's gonna have to fight either behind in the rankings at 145, or he could look for some super fights at 155. Like he said, Beneil Dariush is out without an opponent. So what you actually do, if they want to keep Beneil Dariush on the card next week or 2-3 weeks from now, maybe they could do Beneil Dariush versus Max Holloway, actually.
That'd be a good fight.
That would be a good fight as well. So either options, man. We'll see. We'll see which route Max Holloway and the UFC decides to go. But yeah, I made a bet actually on that fight as well. It was good. Like I told you guys on the fight picks below we did last week, I wasn't really sure who would win the fight. They both were talented fighters, but I was sure that no one was going to be able to finish each other. So the fight went to the decision, and I put a couple units on that. So we cashed out on that. And yeah, guys, so tune in anyways for the next breakdown. We're going to break down this weekend's card. I believe it's Curtis Blades versus Sergio Palkovich. So 2 knockouts, 2 heavyweights. So expect fireworks. And again, we'll break that down, guys. I'll leave the fight predictions for last week if you want to check those out again too. This is the review. This is the recap of the fight card. UFC Kansas City. Me and my boy SkyKingBJJ. Again, make sure you subscribe to his channel. Subscribe to mine as well. And turn on your notification bells. Let's get it.